Welcome to Timeless Sparks, where bold ideas ignite change across centuries. In a small town wrapped in frost, the Petrov family found warmth in each other. Ivan, a schoolteacher, dreamed of a world where imagination stretched beyond fear. But this was a time of heavy silence. Neighbors glanced over shoulders. The country's rulers tolerated no criticism. Suspicion was everywhere. One bitter evening, as Anna ladled thin soup into bowls and Misha played quietly on the floor, a sudden pounding shattered the calm. Soldiers in heavy coats and grim expressions filled the doorway. Their leader read from a sheet of paper: charges of counter-revolution, sabotage, treason. Ivan's protests died on his tongue as Anna's tears began to fall. Misha hid his face in her skirts, trembling. In another world, this would be a nightmare from which the family might wake. But in Stalin's Soviet Union, it was a horrifying reality. Ivan was marched into the biting night, his last glimpse of home framed by Anna's outstretched arms. Thrown into a concrete cell, Ivan learned quickly that here, time didn't flow. It dragged, heavy and uncertain. Interrogations began. Endless questions, shouted accusations, threats he could hardly believe. There was violence too, swift and brutal. Sleep and hunger became weapons. Eventually, racked with pain and despair, Ivan confessed to crimes he hadn't committed. His signature on the confession was the final price for a moment's respite. Like thousands before him, he disappeared into the machinery of repression, sent on a journey that began with a rattling transport train crammed with other prisoners, and ended on the edge of the known world. His new home was the Gulag, a labor camp lost in endless fir forests and snow, watchtowers dotting the horizon, barbed fences hemming in rows of rickety barracks, a place designed to erase hope. Each dawn, the prisoners stumbled from their bunks into the burning cold, wrapped in too thin uniforms. Work was relentless, hauling logs, breaking rocks, digging frozen earth with trembling hands. Injuries and hunger were constant companions, the watery gruel barely sustenance. Whispered rumors told Ivan that most did not survive a winter. But the Gulag had not crushed every spirit. Ivan found unexpected moments of humanity, a crust of bread shared, a joke muttered under a guard's nose, the exchange of smuggled news from home. In the deepest dark, friendships grew like wildflowers through cracks in concrete. Ivan befriended men from distant parts of the country, farmers, poets, engineers, all swept up in the storm of suspicion. At night, as the camp fell silent except for the low groans and the icy wind, Ivan began to write. He scavenged scraps of paper from discarded packaging, hiding them carefully beneath loose planks or in the lining of his coat. What he wrote was both a record and a lifeline. The truth, set down in small, hard-won fragments, so daily suffering would not be forgotten. These stories, the cruelty and absurdity, the small acts of courage, became his secret rebellion. Years passed. Ivan's hair turned grey, and his body bore the marks of a hard survival. Miraculously, as the tides of politics shifted, his release papers came. He returned home, gaunt but alive, hugged fiercely by Anna and Misha, now a young man himself. The world outside had changed, but so had Ivan. The injustice he endured and the resilience he witnessed could not be left unspoken. With the same determination he'd shown in the camps, he began to gather his hidden notes, piecing together the testimonies of hundreds more. Working in secrecy, risking his life again, Ivan and his allies smuggled his writings out of the country. In time, the world read what he had written. The book became a reckoning, a monument to the millions vanished in the silence of the Gulag. Its stories exposed the machinery of oppression and the indestructible spark of human courage. The walls of secrecy and terror began to crack. Ivan's journey was his own, yet echoed by so many others, proof that even in humanity's darkest corners, small voices can be heard. And hope, once kindled, can never entirely be extinguished. If this story sparked your imagination, like, share, and subscribe for more tales of bold minds and dangerous ideas. Because history belongs to those who dared to ask, what if they're wrong?